You're listening to Change Your POV Podcast, episode 62. Isn't this just like no-brainer stuff? Like, everybody knows this, right? Folks, if everyone knew this, I would not have created the 7-Day Resume, because there's so much about a resume that people just don't know. They either don't know for several reasons. They don't know because they've never been taught. They don't know because they've never been in the shoes of a recruiter or hiring manager, so they're not looking at the other side of the fence.
Welcome to Change Your POV Podcast, helping you navigate transitions in your life, like entering and exiting college or the military, changing jobs or careers, and providing you with the coaching and mentorship needed to help you advance in your personal or professional life. Sometimes all you need is to change your point of view. Now, here's your host, Eddie Lazary.
All right, folks, welcome to Change Your POV Podcast. We are your hosts, Eddie Lazary.
I'm yawning. And Bennett Tanton.
Bennett Tanton, the yawning. And we are going to be covering, this is day 3, lesson 3 of the 7-Day Resume, and we're going to talk about elements of the resume. This is going to be a good one, Bennett. I guarantee you, you will be
Riveted.
Riveted, educated, all of the above by the time we're done with this.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. So before we get into this, I would like to have a shout out to this week's episode is brought to you by Audible.com. Audible has over 180,000 titles to choose from all different genres you could possibly imagine, from thriller to drama to novels, education pieces, fiction, nonfiction. The gamut is full of whatever it is you like to read or listen to. They've got it. I am a very heavy Audible consumer myself. I have an hour commute to and from work, so I get caught up on a lot of books that I would otherwise just not have time to read. And I know that you do as well, Bennett. Very huge proponent of Audible. And what are you listening to right now on Audible, Bennett?
I am listening to... Oh, God. You know what? I can tell you for sure. Hold on.
Yeah.
Just real quick, I'll pull it up because it's where. All right. So it's called Wealth, but wealth as in WELLTH. So a little play on words there where it's not wealth as in WEALTH. Wealth as in WELLTH. So it's about by Jason Wakub, something like that.
Yeah.
And he is he's an entrepreneur, but it's how I learned to build a life, not a resume. So probably not.
That's cool.
You know? So it's actually a really good book so far. So
excellent. I am currently listening to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and I am almost done with that one.
Which is always a good one. I was shopping yesterday, but couldn't find anything that like really sparked my...
Well, I downloaded my next one on the docket is The One Thing.
The One Thing. Yep.
Yeah. The One. Have you heard
I've heard of it. But there's another one that I just actually listened to him on School of Greatness. Ethan something or other. And it's the book about ego.
Oh yeah. I heard that episode.
It's really new.
Yeah.
So I listened to him on there. On that episode this morning, and or it wasn't on School of Greatness, it was on Self-Made Man, the Mike Dillard.
Right.
So I'm leaning towards that, but we'll see.
That's cool, man. Yeah, so if you are interested in listening to audiobooks as a way to kind of, I don't know, lessen the pain of a early morning or afternoon commute, then feel free. I've got a special offer for you. You can sign up and get a free token to download any audiobook of your choosing, along with a free 30-day trial. just head on over to, excuse me, head on over to changeyourpov.com/free book, and you can pick up your free digital download as well as a 30-day free trial, man. Again, that's changeyourpov.com/free book. Love to see you there. All right, man, let's get into it. Resume. Elements of the resume. So we're going to briefly cover, we're going to talk about header information, which includes your contact information, your name, your address, your phone number, and your email address. And then we're going to talk about the date format, the job title, the company, job description, and bullet statements. And I know you're saying to yourself, isn't this just like no-brainer stuff? Like everybody knows this, right? Well, folks, if everyone knew this, I would not have created the 7-day resume, because there's so much about a resume that people just don't know. And they either don't know for several reasons. They don't know because they've never been taught. They don't know because they've never been in the shoes of a recruiter or hiring manager, so they're not looking at the other side of the fence. There's a number of reasons why people don't know this stuff. People go and they get feedback from their friends and family members, and they offer up as much feedback as they can, or they go to our lovely teacher, Mr. Google, right? And they type in the word resume and they get back how many results?
Like what, remember? 4 million or some ass like that?
No, 500 million.
Oh, yeah, it was 483 million.
Right. Search results if you search
stupid shit like that.
Yeah. So what do you do? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Google. I love me some YouTube. I go there to learn all kinds of stuff. See, that's Google calling you right now. Like, hey,
it is.
But there's just so much information. Where do you start, right? And so that's what I created this for, to help you out. So let's get into it. Header information. All right. So we're going to start with your name. All right. All this is going to seem very obvious to some of you, and for others, this may be the first time you've heard any of this. So for those of you in the former category, just bear with me. Besides, having a little refresher never hurt anyone. So first, here's a little quote by Dale Carnegie, who I just mentioned. He wrote that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which was the book that I read prior to Think and Grow Rich. And there was a quote in there I really loved, and it goes like this: remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. All right. Names are very important. Your name on your resume is no different. It's what identifies you. All right. It's what your reputation is tied to. Aside from it being what people call you, it's the most unique piece of information on your resume. Because let's be honest, any other piece of information on your resume could easily be had by someone else and be considered accurate, right? So sometimes the issue comes down to your legal name versus the name you go by or what others know you by. And I've seen this on resumes numerous times. There's conflicting information. So think of your resume as a legal document, even though it really isn't, I guess. In a way it is. And here's some reasons why. Say you lie on your resume and the company that hires you finds out about it down the road. That company has every right to fire you for falsifying the information on your resume. So in retrospect, the resume kind of is a legal document. The company could and probably will fire you based on this falsified information, and it would hold up in most any court in the favor of the company if you were to try and sue or contest it. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not speaking from experience. I'm not a lawyer, but I am speaking from experience, as I know someone that this happened to, and that's basically how it turned out. So I know firsthand, folks, that what you put on your resume can and will be held against you in a court of law. Just kidding. Trying to bring some levity to this situation. All right, that said, also consider that all other touch points associated with your resume, for example, if you do not get offered the job, all right, let's think about this. If you don't get offered the job, if you do get offered the job, what name will you use on all your HR documents or your bank direct deposit form or your tax documentation? All right, perhaps you haven't been extended an offer yet and the hiring manager is still researching you, what name do they go by on all your other social media like LinkedIn and Facebook, etc., to find more about you, right? So the bottom line is there better be some synergy with your name across the spectrum. It's okay to go by a nickname, but go with your actual or legal name that you use on your resume. All right. If a recruiter or hiring manager can't easily connect the dots with regard to your name, it's that much easier to place you in the, say it with us now, the hell no pile. Remember that?
The hell no pile.
The hell no pile. Remember that they are looking for reasons to say no. We covered that last week's episode. All right, your contact information. Again, this is going to sound like a no-brainer, but trust me, if common sense were common, everyone would have it. Brace yourselves. For whatever reason, there is a lot of debate around what should be included in the remainder of the header information, and I am going to give my recommendation and the reasons why. All right? So the next time someone challenges you with this, simply hear them out and then ask, why do you say that? Or why do you feel that way? And if all you get as a response is, quote, because that's what I've heard, or that's what I've been taught, then, well, folks, you determine what makes the most sense for you, all right? Address. This should be the address you use to get all of your personal mail. I understand that you could get mail delivered to you at your place of work that you are currently working at now, or at your friend's house, or a P.O. box. However, if these are not the normal places you receive mail, then there is a chance you could miss some important correspondence or documentation during the hiring process. This will not paint you in a very positive light, especially when you are trying to differentiate yourself amongst other potential candidates for the position. Oh, and having mail like this sent to your current place of business, well, let's just say I've seen it and it's an extremely dumb idea. All right. How will it look to your hiring manager when your resume address is different than the address that you use on your HR document? All right. Unless you're moving during your hiring process, which in this case, Bennett, you would qualify in this category, then it looks really, really shady. All right. Next is your phone number. This follows the same logic as your address. This should be a number that you use and can be reached at easily. This should not be your company phone number or a company cell phone if you have one. This should be a personal number. Your voicemail should be clear and personal. I'm sorry, yeah, it's obviously personal, but it should be professional and contain the basic information. Like, here's an example. I'm just going to kind of read you off what I've got for mine, right? Hello, you have reached Eddie Lazary. I'm sorry I missed your call. Please leave your name and number and a brief message, and I will return your call as soon as possible. Thank you. All right. It's very simple. It's very short, sweet, to the point.
Yeah, quick story. So I had a guy.
Yeah.
So, we do a little hiring with it. I'm sitting here basically trying to recruit guys to do peer support, right? For Warrior Hall and then some other things I've got going on, right? Mm-hmm. So get this guy's phone number, and basically his resume. It wasn't exactly a resume, but it was kind of like, his contact info. Yeah, I'm interested. He seemed like a cool guy, at least to move on to the next stage to see if he's able to,
mm-hmm.
to work and do that stuff, right?
Right.
Well, I call and he doesn't answer. And what comes on as his message was like, I don't even know how to describe it, man. It was like hip hop, but like, it just didn't make any sense, man. I mean, it was like rap music and some other stuff. And basically I couldn't understand. I don't know if it was him or if it was somebody else, but I couldn't understand shit. So I'm like, well, I'm looking for, whatever. And just off of that alone, yeah. I haven't pursued. I was like, okay, no. If that's going to be, if like you're portraying yourself as a professional
Right.
and this is what I get, you know?
Yep.
I'm like,
Exactly.
you know, it was like a Little John song or something. And it was
Right.
crazy. It wasn't,
And people,
and I like hip hop, but this was like, it was obscene. And I'm just
right.
like, whatever, man. And if I'm saying that, then that means that's some pretty bad shit. You've heard
Yeah.
my mouth. So just,
And a lot of people think that, oh, well, that's my personal thing and nobody should judge me for that. And they should judge me on, on the information on my resume and solely that. And you know what? You
unfortunately,
can,
in this day and age, that doesn't exist.
no, you can keep thinking that and keep believing that. You go right ahead and keep believing that. And I will tell you what, the rest of the world will continue spinning and doing things the normal way because you know what? Everything matters and that too matters. All right. So what I just read you was just a very brief example of how you can have, or my recommendation for setting up your voicemail. So it's probably not how you have your voicemail set up currently. So I recommend that you change it at least while you are seeking a new job, right? So potential employers will be calling. They will be. All right. I called someone once that I was seriously considering for the next round in the hiring process, just like you in your story. I gave this person a call, and this is what I got. When you get the beep, you know what to do. All right? How annoying is that? That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, or how about this one? I love this one. This is another one that I got. If you receive this message, it's probably because I don't want to talk to you. Beep. And he actually said the beep part. It wasn't even like the machine beep. It
Oh
was
my
like him.
Lord.
Yeah. I was like, all right, click. See you
Yeah.
later.
Wow.
Now, let's be honest. Neither of these potential candidates probably even realized that they left their voicemail like that. It's probably been like that for years, right? When was the last time you actually checked your voicemail and what it sounded like?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
I
a
mean,
long
I
time.
do know because I just did it not that long ago, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah, but did you change it because you knew you were on the market looking for a
no,
job? Oh,
no, I
you
changed it
just
just
did.
because I try to be as professional as possible.
Right.
And it's the whole, yeah, it's because I have a lot of veterans that call me saying, hey, dude, I want to kill myself.
Right,
So
right,
if
right.
they get a message, like if I don't, you know what I mean? If they get the message, it's the, hey, if you're having thoughts of suicide, call the, suicide hotline. I give
Yeah,
them the number, the whole thing. So I give them the whole spiel, call
right, right.
911, the whole thing. And, I feel like I need to do that because I have enough people that call that it's
Yeah,
an issue.
that makes sense.
So
Except yours is like, if this is Eddie, then you know what? Just
yeah,
call back later.
just I'll call you back when I get to it.
Yeah, pound sand. No. So, all right, back to those two
Push,
candidates.
push,
I
boot.
push boot. I didn't honestly think that those messages were meant for me for sure, but it showed me as a hiring manager that these candidates were not self-aware enough to consider his or her voicemail. Yep, that is definitely a reason to say no. All right. Next, oh my God, I love this one. Email address, okay? The things that I have seen when it comes to email addresses
Oh
are
man.
absolutely incredible. And it absolutely blows my mind that people don't know, or at least don't consider this. All right? All right. Okay. How much does it cost to have an email address, Bennett?
It's free.
Oh, shit, it's free.
Amazing. It's
Okay.
free.
Yeah. All right.
It's free.
How long does it take to set one up?
About 12 seconds.
Okay. So I did this, okay? I actually did this. I created, and if you want to email me at this address, you can. I created 7dayresume@gmail.com. Okay? From start, I wanted to just see, I timed it. So from start of the confirmation email, it took from the beginning all the way to the confirmation email, it took me all of 2 minutes and 4 seconds. No kidding. Okay, I
Love
timed
Eddie.
it. 2 minutes, 4 seconds. And and I haven't set one up in a while, so if you know what you're doing, you could probably knock that down quite a bit.
Right.
All right, so why do I bring this up? Because once upon a time, I got a resume from a lady, and her email address was sexy30 at you fill in the
Oh
blank.
my
Okay.
God.
Not even kidding. And I flat out asked her why she chose to have such an inappropriate email address on her resume. And you know what she said? Because I didn't have enough time to set a new one up. That's what she told me. I'm like, are you really? You didn't have enough time to set up a professional email address to put on your resume. You seriously you spent the time to type out your resume, and you just, at the very top, sexy 30 and you know what? She was nowhere near 30, by the way. I'm just throwing
and
it
probably
out
not
there.
sexy either.
I wasn't going to go there,
But I
man,
will.
but yeah.
So
Okay. Are you kidding me? All right, folks, get an appropriate email address.
holy hell.
This generally comes in the form of your name or some variation and an extension, like, here's some examples of my name: eddielasry@gmail.com, or elasry@gmail.com, or lazarye@gmail.com. All right, some variation. All right, I totally understand that this may be difficult to find an available variation, and you may need to include some numbers or characters like Eddie Lazary 1977 at gmail.com. But then, folks, don't get upset when the interviewer brings up your age, right?
God knows.
Right? Just keeping it
Unbelievable.
real. All right. The last thing I will say about your email address is it needs to be one that you control. This is extremely important, folks. For example, if you use your current place of employment's email address, this is a bad idea on many levels, but once you leave that company, you will lose that email address and all your contacts and information associated with it. Same is true if you are in a college and or you use your college or university's email address. Once you graduate or leave the school, your email address goes away. Finally, let's not forget about all of you folks in the military. All of you by now have been given your very own military email address that ends in something .mil, right? Some rarely use this email address, and some of you use it for everything. Remember, regardless of who you are, there will come a day when you take that uniform off for the last time, and your email account will expire, and everything in it will go away. All right, I see a lot of people use their .mil email addresses, and people use their college or university because they feel, all right, that I have found that a lot of people want to use the school, company, and military email addresses because they feel it gives them an advantage by providing some level of relevance or credibility. Okay. The truth is, for me anyways, it demonstrates your lack of knowledge and understanding of the whole process in general. Okay. It leads me to believe that you are counting on these credibility play to make up for a lack of good relevant content in the body of your resume. Okay. In short, it's a red flag for me. Either you're not smart enough to know it, what you're doing is probably not a good idea, or you're trying to use it to bring more relevance or credibility to your resume because you're lacking somewhere else in your resume. All right. The takeaway here is be in the know. All right. Lean on your actual experience and credibility. It carries far more weight. All right. Next is date format. All right, this is done in so many ways. The weird thing is, a lot of people think that being creative with this is going to set you apart from everyone else. Well, folks, good news is it will. It will set you apart. It will put you squarely in the hell no pile. Okay? Look, it's very simple. The recruiter and hiring manager should not need a secret decoder ring to decipher the date structure of your job history. All right? You just shouldn't need one. Dates are very straightforward. Trying to make them otherwise is confusing, and to be honest, it's frustrating for the person reviewing your resume. Don't complicate a vanilla ice cream cone. It's good just the way it is, simple and to the point. Most often, I see crazy date structures, and I think one of two things. One, you are not smart enough to figure out how a calendar works. Or two, you're trying to hide, mask, or in some way trick me into figuring out or to not figuring out that you have a break in your employment. Okay, one of those two things is happening. And neither one of them are good. Okay, if you're not smart enough to figure out a calendar or if you're trying to hide something, neither one's good. All right. All right. All right. It's true that recruiters and hiring managers are looking for gaps in your work history, But if you can articulate well enough to explain those gaps, they are not seen as much of a game changer as you might have been led to believe. Okay? Whew, I'm telling you, man, this is going to get interesting here in a second. Houdini trickery, on the other hand, not standing for it at all. All right? Rules of thumb here. 1, your date should be in reverse chronological order, meaning most recent to most dated. So at the very top of your resume is the most recent. And as you read down the resume, it should be older or more dated. Okay?
Right.
2, they should be linear.
Seriously?
Yep. That's your recruiter again.
Oh my God.
They should be linear and not overlap. Okay? Are you really working 2 full-time jobs at the same time? All right, if you are, okay, maybe I guess there's overlap, but chances are you're not. So don't make it look like you are. It just confuses things. 3, they should be the same format throughout. All right, full month, day, year, or month and year. Okay. I've seen resumes where they change like every single line, every single job. They use a different date format. It's confusing as hell. I don't understand it. All right. There is any number of formats that you can use. Just be consistent throughout your resume. They should be true and be an accurate representation of your employment history. Lie and it will eventually come out and jeopardize your employment and worse, your reputation. Okay? Next is the job title. This is simple. Use your actual job title. Trying to enhance, fabricate, or embellish the truth here is never a good idea. There's one caveat though. Many companies nowadays are going away from actual job titles and are opting for a less discriminatory job title like associate or member. So if everyone in your company is called an associate or member, then you need to figure out what your equivalent industry standard job title would be if your company actually had relevant job titles. All right. Use your LinkedIn network or your friends at other companies that have a similar job as you. This is not hard to do, but it does take some work on your part to figure it out. So I'm not saying to enhance, fabricate, or embellish. I'm just saying figure out what an equivalent job title is to the actual job that you are doing. Okay. The next is company. List the companies you worked at. Many folks I've spoken with are reluctant to include previous companies because they are afraid that the recruiter or hiring manager will call and find out something distasteful about your previous employment. Okay, I understand this. It's a legitimate concern. However, recruiters and hiring managers don't call previous companies as much as you might think, mainly because they know that there aren't many companies out there that will be willing to give them any more information other than, quote, yep, that person worked here, and that's about it. Folks, most companies are not going to give away anything about you, particularly if it has to do with your performance. They just won't do it. The liability is just too great, okay? So, so you're asking why list the company at all then, right? Right? If we're not going to call for references, then why list them at all?
Right.
All right. Well, it's important for recruiters and hiring managers to have a sense for what industries you have worked in the past. If you worked at, let's say, a defense contracting company in the past, for example, and the position that you've applied to is also in the defense industry, then there's an assumption that you know and understand valuable things like security, need to know, classifications, and certain ISO requirements, as an example. So listing companies is really just giving the hiring manager a frame of reference. Okay. Job descriptions. This is a key part of the resume, and it is very important how this plays a role in your resume. The brief job description for each position is meant to describe what the job entailed, and the bullet statements should describe how well you performed the job description. So again, these go hand in hand. What was the job? The description. And how well did you do the job is your bullet statements. Make sure that your job description includes things that you can speak to in your bullet statements. This, believe it or not, all right, folks, if I don't say anything else or if you don't pay attention to anything else, listen to this right here. Here, I'm about to unveil the secret sauce to a successful resume. The secret sauce to a successful resume Applying this will make your resume stand out and be far more relevant than any other resume out there. Too many times the resume is just a list of things that you know and did, but very little about how well you did those things. Okay? So we will cover this in greater detail in a later lesson next week and the week following, but there you have it. Okay? Your resume should not just be a list of things that you did and things that you know, but it should be a list of things describing how well you did those things. That is, folks, the secret sauce. All right, bullet statements. In lesson 4, we will get into in greater detail, but just briefly, this is by far the hardest for most people to wrap their heads around. Up to this point, all my recommendations have been very clear cut, easy to follow and implement, with the exception of maybe last week with all the pictures. We kind of fumbled through that one. You will have to go and sign up for the 7-day resume and look at those pictures to follow along for that to make any sense. But bullet statements are tricky because they are going to be different for everybody and for every job you are applying for. So I can't tell you exactly what to write, but I can share with you what you should look for in a good bullet statement, how to structure one, and better yet, how you can rate your bullet statement and give them a score. Have you ever scored your bullet statements on your resume, Bennett?
No.
No. Have you ever even heard of it?
No.
Most people haven't either. So I will teach you how to score your bullet statements in the 7-day resume. If you want to learn how to do that, you got to go check it out. So next week's lesson is completely dedicated to the bullet statements. Again, it is extremely visual. I cannot cover everything. There's no way. As a matter of fact, lesson 4 is the largest lesson. I have 3 training videos and probably 6 or 8 downloadables. It's pretty robust. A lot to it, okay? So I will touch on it briefly next week, but there's no way I could possibly get into the nth degree on bullet statements next week. I will give you a taste and hopefully intrigue you enough to go over and sign up for 7-day resume and check it out for yourself. All right, so this will wrap it up for this lesson. I look forward to speaking with you next week, and we were going to talk about, again, bullet statements. We're going to talk about bullet statement tips. We're going to talk about how not to reference yourself, third person. I'm going to briefly touch on bullet statement scoring, ordering of the bullet statements, a half resume test, and what's called a resume sector relevance, or an RSR. All right, so that pretty much does it for this episode. It was a much cleaner, I think, Bennett, than last week. What do you say?
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. Any questions or any comments about anything that we covered in your experience or otherwise?
Not for me.
Okay. All right, folks. So that will wrap things up for this week's episode of Change Your POV podcast. You can find, oh boy, what episode is this on? Do you remember?
60 something.
It is. I think it's 62.
Hold on.
62, I believe it is.
Oh, Lord. Good Lord.
Yeah, it is 62. Yep. So you can find all of the show notes for this episode, and it won't be a lot. If you want the greater detail, then obviously go down to 7dayresume.com and sign up, and you get everything. All right. But you can head on over to changeyourpov.com/episode 62. Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice. We have a lot more great content headed your way, and it can be part of our community over at Change Your POV Facebook page. Bennett and I have some pretty crazy things going on. This is day 6 of our 30-day challenge. Let's talk about that real briefly, Bennett. So 6 days ago, you and I decided to do what's called our 30-day Q&A challenge. And go ahead and tell us a little bit about what we're doing.
So we're just basically started out 5 days ago, 6 days ago, and with Eddie asking me a question, and then I'd answer it. And then the next day I ask him a question and he answers it. And it's about everything. It can be about business. It could be about life. It could be about family, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just a question. Yeah. Like I try to ask questions that are on my mind, you know?
Yeah.
So I actually might get value out of it instead of some fluff bullshit question, you know?
Right.
So that's basically it in a nutshell, you know?
Yeah.
But we do it on Facebook Live. So we keep them under 5 minutes. So it kind of gives us, so there's no rambling idiocy. which there still might be from time to time. Like I was rambling a little bit today when I asked the question, but luckily it's as though Facebook Live knew it. It cut off like half my freaking question. So I mean, I asked the question and then I talked for like 2.5 more minutes, right? Well, only about two and a half minutes, I think, total recorded, because the network kicked me off. So I was like, okay, well, that works. When I went back and looked, and I was like, well, whatever. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah, the question was there. Like Facebook Live was monitoring like, oh,
sorry, you're rambling bullshit. Click, get that fucker out of here.
Yeah, it's a good thing we came up with the 5-minute limit, man, because I find myself, I struggled, man, to get it in under 5 minutes. Like almost all of mine have been pretty close to right at the 5-minute mark. So
obviously, because you like to hear the sound of your own voice.
I think I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Well, no, today I was answering your question, and I obviously we're both fairly novices at Facebook Live. So I'm sitting there recording, and all of a sudden I get an incoming phone call. And like my screen goes to phone call. Oh, I was like, oh shit, well, what's gonna happen? And so I clicked discard or whatever, not discard.
But like decline.
Whatever. Decline. Yeah, I clicked decline, and it went back to the Facebook Live, and it like picked up recording. But I'm thinking to myself, but it's live. Like, what's gonna happen in there? Right. So you'll see on day 6 answer to your question. There's like a little spot in it. It kind of cuts out, and it's kind of weird. And then I come back. That's what happened.
See, no, I watched it and didn't catch it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh
well.
Oh well. If you watch it again,
I'll watch it again just so
you probably thought it was like some lag in your system.
Or wasn't. I'm like,
yeah. That was a phone call from I don't know who. But anyway, so yeah, man. So you know what I'm gonna do? Also, I'm gonna create a web page. And it's going to be changeyourpov.com/30-day challenge. And on that page, I'm going to list out what we're doing, Bennett, like everything that we're doing. So it goes into greater detail. And so that way we don't have to spend the first minute of our 5 minutes explaining it every time. Because the first few days I understand, but now it's getting kind of like,
all right, can I just answer one question?
So it's starting tomorrow, Bennett. It'll be in my question to you, so you can also refer to it. You can just say, hey, if you want to learn about what we're doing, head on over to changeyourpov.com/30-day challenge, and it'll all be spelled out for you. So there you go.
Easy.
That will it will buy back some precious seconds for me anyway, so I can listen to myself talk more. But yeah, man. So that's it. So thanks for participating in this. I really honestly hope that you are getting some value at it. I know I am. If nothing else, it causes me to think a little bit more about my questions, and it forces me to think about answers. And so sometimes we live a lot in our own heads,
and pushes us outside our comfort zones.
Exactly.
Too, so.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, all right, man. So that's it. Come check it out. Change Your POV Facebook page. The questions and answers are posted there for your viewing pleasure. And again, if you want to chime in, answer any of our questions, or have any kind of feedback, or just want to weigh in, by all means, hit us up in the comment section there and let us know what you think.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. We'll see. No one's done it yet.
No,
there's been a few people that liked it, and
there's been a couple comments here and there, but nothing substantial.
Nobody's weighed in yet. Nobody's
but
said,
a decent amount of people are actually viewing them.
Oh yeah, they are. And sharing too.
Yeah,
so whatever we're saying, it must have some value to somebody.
Yeah.
Other than us.
It's like crazy as shit. I don't understand it. But anyway, yeah.
All right, man. That's it, dude. All right, folks. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Change Your POV podcast with Eddie Lazary. Check out more content by going to changeyourpov.com. And remember, your ability and willingness to change your point of view will open doors of opportunity.